Hi, I'm Matthew Friends, one of your fellow classmates, and I'm going to be explaining Danon disease. Now let's slow up a bit and explain some background on it because I'm assuming most of us aren't too familiar with Danon disease. Danon disease causes weakened muscles in several areas, and these muscles are usually heart muscles, motor muscles, and skeletal muscles. It can also cause some intellectual disabilities in some cases. And some other minor issues with Danon disease are problems with the stomach, breathing, and eyes. And those areas are shown by the blue circles in the diagram to the right, which shows how big of a problem Danon disease actually is. Oops. So now that we've talked about the physiological level of Danon disease, we're going to shrink further down into the cellular level. The gene linked to Danon disease is the Lamp2 gene, which is actually present on the X chromosome. That's really interesting because since men only have one X chromosome, the problems associated with Danon disease are much more severe in men. Now, it may come as a surprise, but the Lamp2 gene codes for the Lamp2 protein. That protein's tertiary structure can be seen in the diagram to the right, where mainly alpha helix structures are interacting with one another. What LAMP actually stands for is lysosomal associated membrane protein, linking the protein to the organelle lysosome, an example of which can be seen in the bottom picture with its numerous hydrolytic enzymes. So now, let's say despite Mr. Comet's best efforts and honestly superb teaching, you have forgotten what lysosomes are and what they do. In normal animal cells, lysosomes are organelles that help digest materials. They are mainly spherical membrane-enclosed organelles containing many hydrolytic enzymes inside, which help to digest and break down the materials when in contact with them. The materials the lysosomes break down are either broken organelles, macromolecules contained in transport vesicles, or some other ingested material in a vesicle. The lysosomes fuse with the vesicle, and the hydrolytic enzymes break down the material into simpler units for the cell to use. In a sense, the lysosomes are one of the ultimate recyclers, helping the cell to continually renew itself. Overall, lysosomes interact with vacuoles, mostly food vacuoles, to break down these macromolecules, the Golgi apparatus in order to receive its enzymes, and any broken organelle to recycle it. So, it's apparent that lysosomes are not just important, but also super cool. But now let's redirect our focus to the Lamp2 protein again. Remember that it stands for lysosomal associated membrane protein, meaning that it's actually part of the membrane of lysosomes, or helps the membrane, associating it with the transport materials into the lysosome, since their membranes have to fuse for the lysosomes to actually perform their function. Lamp2 mutations for Danon disease lead to little production of Lamp2 protein, and from what I explained before, lysosomes can't fuse as easily to vesicles and vacuoles to break the material inside them down, which is shown well by the diagram showing how the lysosomes can't perform their function as well when people have Danon disease. Now that we've established how Danon disease works, it's time to look at the dangerous effects of it. If the lysosomes can't perform their specific aforementioned roles, there's an accumulation of vacuoles that would normally fuse to lysosomes to transport material in, and a buildup of that actual material that was supposed to be broken down. Out of the two, the former is probably the most severe effect, especially making these large vacuoles accumulate in the cell, especially in muscle fiber areas. This impairs the muscle's functions by crowding the cells, not allowing any functions to occur, showing how Danon disease affects a wide variety of muscle tissues, such as the one in the heart, for motor functions, and skeletal muscles as discussed before. The more minor effects I also discussed are associated with some muscles, which is why they are also affected. On a very serious note, Danon disease is a difficult struggle for all individuals who have it and their close family and relationships. It can be very fatal, with males usually living up to 19 and females 34. It's very scary for families such as the Ear family, whose son, Siraj, was diagnosed with it. He couldn't participate in physical activities as a child from this strenuous toll on his body, and who desperately needed a heart transplant from the lack of research on therapies for this disease. His mother dedicated the last 11 years to try to find a researcher to help her son, showing how much this disease actually affects the person themselves and their loved ones. Thank you all for listening to my talk on Danon disease, and hopefully you are a bit more knowledgeable on it than when we started. Here are some of the sources I used categorized by their use, such as information and images. Thank you and have a good day.